What's up, chat? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. It's November 3rd, 2021, and we have got a lot of basketball tonight. A whole lot of it. Like, when you think there's more, there is more. A lot of games to chop up, a lot of news to kind of tinker with and watch, and hopefully a sharp player pool for us to carve out. I'm Gun, twitter.com/Gundacker joined by Hoodie Raj.
In the building.
This beats vibing me. What's up, Raj?
Oh man, another day, another grind. Got a big slate today. First big one in a while. A lot of COVID news. Should be an interesting one.
Yeah, a lot of the big Rona floating up. I don't know if these Halloween parties got a little out of control, but not just in NBA, in the NFL as well. Lots of news to absorb for your NFL DFS weekend, and also tonight for NBA. What was it? It was Jakob Poeltl. Who's the other big one? Tobias Harris, I guess, was one of the other guys involved as well. So not one of the guys involved, like it's a scandal, but yeah, COVID, man. It's the further, like, the more normal life gets, right? Especially when you start getting submerged in sports, it reminds you, hey, it's still here, it's still a problem. So hopefully teams don't suffer too much without some of their big guys. Jakob Poeltl going down for the Spurs might create some next man up value opportunity for us tonight. We'll chop that up, all the if this and if that. We also just have regular news to watch. We'll talk about all of that and more on today's packed stream. We're going to break down each game for Fanduel, for DraftKings, for PrizePicks, and if you're on Yahoo, hey, we got Yahoo covers as well. But how we doing, chat, man? Let's get you guys shouted out, man. Jay Smooth, Chronic, Dane Lazy, Mofo, Junius, Grady. How long did it take for you to get a good takedown? Been playing for 2 years and yet to take one down. I think so. I actually,
I've been playing for a few years too. What happened? A
good takedown. I started when DFS was a lot easier, like a lot easier. I mean, it was crazy how like, I used to be a cash game grinder in NBA, and it was all you had to do was pay attention to news like we do now, but everybody wasn't doing it. Like, right now, if someone gets scratched 15 minutes before lock, man, you might see the next man up ownership jump to 30-40%, sometimes even greater. It used to not be like that. Heck, you'd still have ownership on the first guy, and then the next man up would be, sub 5%, and there was so much edge. So I started winning so much that I was like, you know what? I'm making more money doing DFS than I am doing real life work. So that's what turned me pro. So that's not the atypical experience, and DFS is only getting harder by the day because of all the great content, all the tools out there, the projection systems, the optimizers, all that wasn't around. But I mean, I'm still getting some decent hits here and there. I think I can't speak on your personal approach to DFS in terms of what you're going after, but man, if you start being not Raj, right, you take the focus down away from the 100K to first, the million maker, stuff like that. DFS can still be profitable once you understand ranges of outcomes, apply the right contrarian plays versus ownership, learning how to leverage ownership. It's still a game of math, and once you become numb to the narratives and the emotions of the game, there's definitely a mathematical equation that can and is solved on a daily basis. Heck, we're a couple weeks in the season, and I have multi showdown takedowns and a bunch of top tens So while I haven't hit like first place in a tournament yet for the big NBA slate, it's still been really, really profitable. So as far as big takedowns, everyone's different because everyone has a different style of play, and it's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit more for some than others to adopt a disciplined style of play. But man, I'm loving it. But Genius, if you ever on Twitter or something like that, hit me up. I might be able to maybe get a little bit more information from you in terms of your daily approach. But it's been nice. A lot of screenshots in the Discord this weekend too. For a minute, our boy always be placing the 2-time Millie Maker winner. He had himself 100K to first sweat last night, Raj, and then Herbert Jones gets a concussion when he was like 8 points back from first. I was like, no. But for him, 100K these days is nothing, right?
Yeah, it's not much for sure.
What's up, Brody? Damron in the chat. Raj wearing the exact opposite of clothes from yesterday. He must not have been to the gym today. Did he get donuts and coffee today?
No gym today. Gym's a little later after the stream, after lock.
Yeah, whatever. So I'm a little wimp now, right? 51 degrees and raining here. A little cold. A little bit north of the equator, man. What's it out up there? Don't give me that Celsius nonsense either. What are we talking Fahrenheit?
Fahrenheit. I gotta look it up.
Okay, what is it in Celsius? Like 9.
I think it's not too bad today. It's 7 degrees Celsius, 44 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's actually really good compared to what I'm dealing with. So, in contrast, I guess. What up, Mongo? Says, man, I'm so torn between Anthony Edwards, who has more usage on the table with no D-Love versus LaMelo in a high total game versus in Golden State. I'd be tiers only. Yeah, I mean, that is an incredible 1v1 for just a straight up who scores more. Not something I would ever try to solve in one lineup, and that's why the multi-entry life is the life for me. What up, Scott Duran? Jim in the chat. Yo, shout out to Jim with the white panda. I believe the white panda for our channel represents at least 6 months. So we talked about the channel memberships yesterday. A lot of you guys didn't even know you could be a member of the YouTube channel. It's a cool thing YouTube is doing. Hopefully they grow on it and we get more features and more ways to develop the members only community. Right now you guys get the cool little name colors, the badges next to your name, the emojis and stuff like that. I was thinking about if we hit like a 10 to 20 member goal, I would maybe do, like my preparation to this stream. Maybe I would stream that, right? As I'm tidying up the spreadsheet, the hour before the main stream, I could be live and then we could talk a little bit more strategy and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe you guys that are members, let me know what you're thinking about that. But yeah, the white panda is the 6-month badge. The red panda is the 12-month badge. And then if we ever see some purple pandas floating around, that's 2 years of support. So first of all, Jim and all of the other members of the channel, appreciate that love. If you guys want to be members, there's a join button below. What's up, G Yali? My love, Danielle in the chat. To Kickstart, Desmond, Marski, Durant. Scott says Pell's Sacktown going to be the late night hammer. Yes, sir. Encore. What up, Encore? What up, Adam? What up, Shady? Shady in the chat. We'll see if we can get Shady back maybe tomorrow. Might have 2 guests tomorrow talking some DFS. Today, I wanted to make sure it's streamlined, a little bit fast. We got a big slate, and I definitely wanted to overcome some of the technical difficulties from yesterday. Desmond says Raj low-key be having some great DFS advice.
I'm telling you, it just takes time for people to see sometimes,
Some people give Rod slack. I give Rod slack. Yeah. But I do like having a contrarian mind that thinks the complete opposite of me to kind of build some friction because, one, it's a little bit more entertaining to not have, yeah, I agree with that. All right, next play, I agree with that. It's a little bit more entertainment. But, yeah, it's fine to have a completely different spectrum of philosophy and even, thoughts on a slate, man. Sometimes you got to think outside the box to get to the top like yesterday. Not a lot of people run like a rocket stack, right? But if you ended up with some KPJ, some Christian Wood, right, it makes a lot of sense. So
Buddy Hield came through.
yeah.
Harrison Barnes didn't, but Buddy Hield did.
Yeah, Brody says it's cold as heck in Texas. I mean, I remember I am from New York, right? So I'm not quite throwing in the towel. I will say I actually spent some time just sitting outside today, enjoying the breeze, and that's this for me is heaven, right? You give me the 40, 50 degree hoodie hat temperature for over the 110 degree summer days, man. This is where I love, and it's really placed the potential desire in my heart in the next year or two to move to northern climate again. I got a couple colder climate areas. I just love cold. I love it. G Jolly says, is tonight a fade Toronto with all the ownership? Get on some Harden sneaky. Maybe Harden's kind of turning the corner. What up, ABG? Chat, where are we at on live viewers? We're at over 50, 60 already. Man, you guys come out quick. I'll tell you what, yesterday, Damron kind of opened my eyes to the giveaway system that Streamlabs has for me built in. So if you follow me on Twitter or you just watch the video, you know I kind of have a personal goal of getting to 6,000 subscribers by January 1. Mathematically, I'm not going to hit that goal. I would need like 65 to 70 subscribers per week over the next 8 weeks. We're a little over 500 subscribers away. But get rich or die trying, right? So I'm going to try. So the way that we build subscribers is by getting in front of new eyes. So if you guys do follow me on Twitter, maybe retweet these tweets, and if you guys want to be part of the push to 6K, interact with the video, hit those thumbs ups, and chat. So what I'm gonna do today is we're gonna do another giveaway, another week pass giveaway for RunDFS.com VIP membership. There's only 2 requirements, right? One, as a group, we'll push this video over 100 likes. Now, obviously, we don't have 100 viewers yet. I'm sure it'll come in the next 30 minutes or so. But you guys get it going. If we get over 100 likes, then I'm going to do a Week Pass membership giveaway for RunDFS.com. And the only way to enter that giveaway, as you saw at the end of yesterday's stream, is to type a keyword in chat. And the only way to type in chat is to be a subscriber of the channel. So, big brain way to maybe stir the algorithm a little bit more and help us get to our goal. So you help me get to my goal, I'm gonna do my best to give back. So think about that today. If you're out there lurking, you're not subscribed, or if you don't even have a YouTube account, maybe go make one real quick, link it to your Gmail, whatever, and we'll try and give back, man. Yesterday, Justin Jennings won a week pass yesterday, was able to jump in the voice chat, and that today could be you, right? Getting all the benefits, right? A couple more things to tidy up in the chat, then we'll move on. I love this weather. Can do without the rain. Yeah, the rain kind of, yeah, I'm with that. There's a hater on chat who disliked this video. Hey, honestly, engagements are engagements, right? If you truly hate YouTube content, I'm gonna let you know the secret is don't hit the thumbs down. Like a video engagement is what stirs the algorithm. So a thumbs down is almost as good as a thumbs up. It's engagement. So even if you don't like the content, hit the thumbs down. What up, Butthole Jenkins? I played 2 lineups last night, won 270 last night. Let's go, Jim. What up, Josh? All right, let's get moving to the main stage here. You guys know every video brought to you by RunDFS.com. If you guys have ever thought about getting access to my personal spreadsheets and maybe comparing your player pool to mine, you can do so with a subscription at RunDFS.com. More than just the spreadsheets and the sortable data and information, you also get access to what I think is the most valuable part of this community, the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. We have NBA, NFL, baseball, and then of course these guys are out here grinding everything. Golf, CSGO, shout out to Jake, prop bets, all that good stuff, sports betting. So if you guys are looking to grow in the DFS field or even just the sports betting field, I definitely recommend you get into a community. I've said it before, it doesn't have to be mine, I'm being humble about it. Just be part of an established community of grinders. Iron sharpens iron, man. Guys that can keep you on your toes constructive thoughts, strategy discussions, and then probably most importantly for NBA, the news. Anytime I see something before someone else, at everyone, hey, this guy's out. This would probably help this guy. And then other guys that maybe see it before I do, boom, at everyone, I see the tag. So get yourself in something like this. If you want to try mine out, we got a bunch of winners here, a bunch of 100K winners. We got the two-time million maker champion, ABP, who just keeps killing it in the community as well. And no matter what your bankroll level is, whether you're balling on a budget, grinding those quarter arcades, those mini maxes, anything like that, or you're grinding those single entries, or you're max entering the $6 to $4, whatever it is, we have no egos. We check them at the door, man. We're just trying to see each other be great. Last Thursday, we announced a partnership with Fantasy Cruncher. So not only have we discounted our memberships at each level, but we've also added more utility to them by transferring part of our membership into a voucher credit through Fantasy Cruncher. Shout out to Dave, shout out to Fantasy Cruncher. They have an incredible tool over there. And if you guys are trying to test the waters of multi-entry, definitely recommend getting into a product like that that can really help you manage multiple lineups. In years past, I used a different product. That product has completely evaporated quality-wise. So now I'm glad to have this new partnership with Cruncher, because I've been using Cruncher for half a year now. It feels like maybe four or 5 months, and I love it. So hopefully you guys will get some utility out of it. If you don't use a voucher right away, they actually do stack up. So if you are a loyal member for a couple weeks, a couple months like that, and then down the road, you're like, all right, maybe I will try multi-entry. I got some time. It's the holidays, whatever. You might be able to stack those up. But 11 games on the docket tonight, chat. Good vibes only. Thumbs up, man. Let's get this sucker started. First of all, a little look at the news to watch via Underdog NBA. Check them out on Twitter. It's our boy Jay Fan. John Collins is questionable. Kristaps Porzingis questionable. Brandon Ingram to be determined. Trae Young's probable. Bogdanovich probable. Patrick Beverly questionable. Nerlens Noel questionable. And then throughout the day, it talked about at the top of the stream, Jakob Poeltl entering health and safety protocols. Tobias Harris, of course, popped positive. Lauri Markkanen entering health and safety protocols. We know Kevin Love did as well. There's a lot of protocol stuff going on, so we will be dealing with some of that as we navigate this slate. Of course, when some guys are out, it creates next man up opportunity, and we'll be able to maybe game theory our way into putting usage to someone else and digesting these prices. 11 game slate, right? Big score to first is usually the expectation. 400 plus fantasy points, likely a solid, realistic first place score tonight. So we're going to do our best to really focus on the ceiling guys. Yeah, that might be guys with a little bit more volatile floors, but it is what it is. What a name to hear. Yo, shout out to Butthole Jenkins, man. At first, when I saw Butthole Jenkins in a chat, he's known for cut the crap. Who's gonna hit a homer? Who's gonna be the best play? And then I realized that's his thing. So shout out to Butthole. What up, Lazarus? Yo, going. What's up, my guy? What's up, Lazarus? What up, Victor Padilla? You guys like Jared Allen and Evan Mobley? Short answer, yes. Long answer, let's talk about it. Game number 1 tonight, the Portland Trailblazers at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Your project starting 5 for the Blazers: Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Norman Powell, Robert Covington, and Yusef Nurkic taking on Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Cedi Osman, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. We got 216.5 total, 5-point spread in favor of the Portland Trailblazers. Cavs are dealing with some outs, right? Kevin Love out, and Lauri Markkanen also out. This big lineup that the Cavs been throwing out there gets a little bit smaller, but we also likely going to get a higher predictive value in projecting minutes. Evan Mobley's one of those guys I think could really benefit here. Just 6,600 on Fanduel, 7K on DraftKings. I got him for about 35 minutes right now. You could also raise the minute expectation on Cedi Osman. I put him around 34 minutes. And then, of course, Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Jared Allen, all guys we should expect to play 30 plus minutes. The Portland Trailblazers have had a really weird start to their season, maybe underperforming versus the expectation. If we sort the NBA right now from defensive rating, the Portland Trailblazers are a little bit below league average, 108.6 points per 100 possessions allowed, and then offensive rating 110.1 points per 100 possessions. So they've been floating along as average to below average in both categories. The Cavaliers have kind of shocked some people at times, but this Cavs lineup gets a little bit different here, so it is going to be fun to kind of debate whether or not the Blazers should do what the Blazers should do. 5-point favorites here. Damian Lillard still just $8,300 on FanDuel. That is a $1,400 discrepancy from his DraftKings price point. So if you are multi-siting tonight, you feel like you'll get the name on FanDuel, but the case can be made to not really be a priority on DK. And the rest of this lineup kind of feels like the more of the same, right? A plus K for CJ McCollum. Normally I'm going to want 40 plus fantasy points minimum on a slate like this to satisfy that price point. And then on the Cavs side, they do feel a little bit more obtainable, maybe even borderline stackable, at least on FanDuel, as the entire team comes in under 7K and most of them around the mid 6K to high 5K. I think they are all justifiable. Raj, I think one of the biggest question marks on this slate is going to be what to do with Cedi Osman on DraftKings. We have seen him be okay. We have seen him be great at this price point. But how enamored and infatuated are you with 3,600 Cedi Osman? I gave him 34 minutes as the early projection. Spit back 26. 26 sounds good as a point per dollar, but on 11 game slate, if he just got 20, could that be fadeable in the hunt for 100K? I think yes, but I'm interested to see chat your thoughts. Let me know. And then Raj, what are you doing with this game? And then what are you doing with Cedi Osman on DraftKings?
I mean, yeah. So for Cleveland, I think the entire starting lineup is in play. Garland, Sexton on DraftKings 6'3", 6'4". Again, with no marketing, no Kevin Love, they're going to be chucking. So you can play them. You got the bigs. Evan Mobley played 40 minutes in a regulation game yesterday with no overtime the other day. So at 7K, he needs to give you that 40, but it's possible. Jared Allen, 6,400, coming off of a big game. I think without marketing, maybe that rebounding number could be just as high as last game. Rebounding has been down this year, but last game he showed he still has that upside, getting 16 rebounds. With no marketing, no Okoro, no Love, I think he can get 10 plus, 12, 13 rebounds again. And I think Cedi Osman, 3,600, probably one of the best values of the day. You know what he could do. You definitely need more than 25. This big of a slate, he needs 30 to take down 100K. He needs 30, 35 even, especially at his ownership. So 3,600. Give me all the Cedi here. It's just too cheap. He lets you get in a lot of other studs here. Don't get cute. You just play every single one of these Cleveland guys. You just rotate them in. And the Portland side, Damian Lillard just still struggling to shoot. He's still 9-7 on DK. So I'll probably, in tournaments I want him. I think in 20 lineups I might not get to him, but in 100, 150, even 50 lineups, probably would. He's going to shoot out of it. He's not going to keep shooting 35%, 25% in games. So I like his FanDuel price a little better over there, but DraftKings, I don't mind it. Him and Nurkic is a guy too at 7,500. Just a big Cleveland team. Last couple games, 28, 26, 23, 23 minutes. It's a minutes thing. One of these days he's going to play 35 minutes. When that is, you don't know. But when he does, he can get you that 50 bomb. So at 7,500, he's interesting. But again, not a core play.
Yeah, not a whole lot of sample size of minutes really without Lauri Markkanen, but especially without Lauri Markkanen and Kevin Love. We only got about 21 minutes of Evan Mobley. I think that the alluring part of a guy like Mobley is the ceiling on his minutes. He could really play close to 40 minutes here. We've seen him do it a few times this season. So taking away some of the bigger length from this lineup kind of opens up that possibility a little bit more. We've seen.
I say he needs 42 at 7K. Like he needs to have, like right now his upside, like he's getting you 30, 37, 39. He needs 40 plus.
Yeah, and I think the Fanduel price point's a little bit more welcoming at 6,600, especially rewarding the stocks a little bit more. He's averaging almost 2 stocks a game. Actually, almost 3 stocks a game, 3.7 if you add up his blocks per game and steals per game. So yeah, I do think he would be more of a priority play for me on Fanduel. But I don't know that he would be out of my he's definitely not out of my player pool on DK. And then Jared Allen's an interesting guy. He kind of had a hey, remember me game against the Charlotte Hornets.
Yep.
Now, the Charlotte Hornets, if we pull up the team metrics chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, and we'll talk more about the Hornets later on today, but the Charlotte Hornets are a team that definitely do give up points in the paint. 48.5 points in the paint per game so far. Well, Portland hasn't been as generous. They are closer to top 10, 43. And Jared Allen's going to get basically all of his points in the paint. He's a dunk only type of guy. So if you think that the shot volume goes back to a couple per game here, just based on dunking, then yeah, maybe you
could just a plus defender.
Yeah, maybe you can lower your expectations here, right? 13 field goal attempts because they just get him let him walk to the rim here. Normally, we've seen single digit shot attempts, and like I said, it's gonna be a mostly a dunk only type of guy. Now he will go out there and get peripherals. He'll get you those rebounds, those blocks, stuff like that. But I'm willing to taper my expectations on Jared Allen to be much more median and modest versus his production last game. I was right there on the Cavs stack last game, chat. We openly debated. I told you a Cavs stack against that matchup, the high-paced, porous defense Hornets really could thrive at those price points. I'm willing to have a little bit more pushback on one of the guys in the front court. And for me, it would be like Jared Allen's real points. But I wouldn't eliminate him from the pool either, just because the potential for minutes are pretty great. The guard rotation gets a little bit soggy. Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Ricky Rubio. You feel like with all those guys active, there's a true range of outcomes where they all get you around 30. And like I said, I really want to weight ceiling greater than anything on today's slate, because 400 plus is likely the need to take down tournaments here. So I do like targeting point guards against Damian Lillard, but I don't have any tier one like thoughts on the Cavs guard rotation here. So I'm gonna get caught up on chat here. Portland Trailblazers basically have a clean sheet when it comes to injury news and notes. We've seen Norman Powell kind of deal with injuries, but so far it looks like tonight pretty clean for the Blazers. Chat, what are your thoughts on this one before we move on to the next game? Rashad says Return of the Jetty Osmond. I'm with that. Thoughts on Thad Young, and with Pirtle out, can we trust Pop? I don't think Pop is the issue here. I would.
We'll get there, but there's other bodies too. People
still got Drew Eubanks and another cat. So I don't think I'm gonna have some Thad Young ultimately in the player pool. We'll kind of discuss that as we get to that game. Fading Jetty says Nightmare. What's up, Nightmare? Also Minnesota breakdowns, McLaughlin in play or Patrick Beverly. I mean, again, 11 games on this slate. I try to eliminate all of those fringe guys. But everyone has a different approach. With Pop, you never know. Pop really hasn't been like I feel like this Popovich narrative is really kind of overblown. If you're talking
about the thing with like the veterans, when they're still a veteran team with Parker, you know what I mean? But since the young guys, the youth movement, I think he's letting them run.
Yeah, but like the Pop thing would be the in-game adjustments, right? You guys, I remember against the Lakers, Keldon Johnson essentially got benched in the fourth quarter. So like if Thad Young wasn't playing well, I could see them going the other way. I'd be more worried about the younger guys here. I kind of trust Thad Young to be a solid veteran here, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll save like the meat and potatoes when we get to that game. But I do think the Pop narrative does get a little bit too much steam when it really is kind of overblown. And I think that the general public pop narrative is, oh, he might bench a guy randomly without warning. Well, that was when load management and rest was a little less, it was a little more taboo. Now it's kind of expected, and he kind of helped us out there. Remember when Jetty was the starter last season? He was priced in the 5 to 6K range. We're getting a massive discount if he's indeed the starter. Yes, but there was also some, other ins and outs here. I guess for the sake of the discussion, we'll just see Jetty Osman. We'll go DKP by game log. Let's go with 30 minutes. Let's go last 50 games of sample size, and just kind of give you a visual aesthetic here. I want to kind of encapsulate the volatility. If he got to the 30, that would be great. I still think the low 20s wouldn't be the nuts, right? I still think on a slate like this, I really try to get the 8, 9x out of my 3K punts. But yeah, 25 plus is something that he achieved in almost all but one of his games with at least 30 minutes dating back to this last 50 games. So I'll be leaning on Jetty Osman. I'll be kind of looking at the ownership projection on him. Raj, if I gave you 25 DKP right now and I told you, hey, this is 40% owned, do you block it? Do you take it, or do you try to get creative and go elsewhere?
I get 80%. I double the field.
All right, and that's fine. That's fine. That's completely okay. I would probably be there too if you gave me the 25 as the bare bones min here. So I think Jetty's fine. It's like, if you guys trust the minute projection, 3,600 is a really soft asking point.
The upside is just so massive. Like, we've seen 40, 45 DKP games from him. As a Portland team that plays no defense right now.
Their defensive rating, it's okay. It's not bad. And remember, the Cavs are going to pull the pace down a little bit too as well. But yeah, I'm fine with stuffing Jetty Osman on DK. Fanduel, there's some decent pushback. And that brings me to a question from G Yali. Do you like Jetty on Fanduel? I think he's okay, but he would be less of a priority here. And it feels a lot like the Cade Cunningham situation yesterday, right? He was so cheap on DK, but 5K on Fanduel. So I found myself putting the seesaw way more on DraftKings than Fanduel, and I think that's what we're going to see again here today. It seems likely, right? If you are banking on offense, would you put Jetty Osman as potentially the fourth option, right? I think Jared Allen, the jury's out on him. If he's not getting the lane and able to get those high percentage shots, those dunks and layups, then maybe I can see Jetty stepping in front of him in terms of shot volume. But I think we're playing Jetty here. We're looking for the peripherals more than the real points here. And at that price, that's a fine risk. And I didn't have any big names that stood out just yet. If I maybe take a peek at my initial projections and sort it from greatest value to least, I'm sure Jetty Osman's got to be top 3 to start the slate. So let me do that real quick, and then we'll come back to chat. Jim Parrish's thoughts on Sexton. So I think the guards. So I actually shot back Kem Birch as a top potential value play, and then Jetty Osman was second. So yeah, he would be top 3 as a points per dollar pre-flop, so I'm fine with that. Gund, how do you feel about Garland tonight? So I don't have a high level of confidence between Garland, Sexton, and Rubio. Like I said, they could all eat into each other's ceilings, but from a can they get there? Yeah, I like the matchup against Damian Lillard. I do like point guards against the Blazers right now. And if you think, Colin Sexton picks up some of those marketing points, you think he can have a shot at 20 real points, averaging 17. I wouldn't push back on it, but like I said, I really want a bunch of 6K 40s tonight, and Sexton could get there, but there's enough resistance with the three-headed guard rotation that they got going on here to not tier 1 it. So we'll see if he gets into the pool. He might, but right now I feel like he could be an odd man out for me. But I understand the case for him for sure. It's just a big slate. What's up, Randy? Late to the party, so I'm listening 2x to catch up. Drew Eubanks lock button tonight. So I've seen 3 different Spurs centers being listed. He could be. No, he could be. But it's gonna be fun to see which Spurs center actually rises to the top, if any of them do. You banked 69 fantasy points. I think I lost 20 pounds. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's move on to the next game. New York Knicks at the Indiana Pacers. Project starting five for the Knicks. Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson taking on Malcolm Brogdon, Chris Duarte, Karis LeVert, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Turner. Taj Gibson, Nerlens Noel, both listed as questionable. Malcolm Brogdon had a lingering Q tag on him, but we do know Jackson Lamb and TJ Warren all remain out. Let me see if I can get the 411 on Brogdon and see if we might be able to project him a little closer to in than out or vice versa. He's dealing with a sore left hamstring. He spoke to the media yesterday and said he was planning to get back out there for this Knicks game. So we'd say he's closer to probable. We should get another update following this morning's shoot around. So if that update comes out, hopefully it will clarify some things. The Pacers are 1-point home favorites here. We have seen the emergence of the returning Karis LeVert starting off around the 7K range. I feel like the only pushback on LeVert going forward is going to be the price to minute projection. And right now I was not confident in putting him at a high minute projection. I think I might have put him at 28, which is kind of aggressive considering that, we want to see him get there. Historically, we know he can be 8-9K player type of production. I do think him fitting in with this Pacers team is going to be a little bit more modest and a little bit more balanced, especially when Brogdon's in. Duarte's coming in, becoming a shot taker. We know Sabonis is going to assume some usage. And then even this season, we've seen Miles Turner be part of scoring more often than not. So I don't have any high expectations for the Pacers individually here. If Brogdon's in, I think there's a strong case for me to be all out on an 11-game slate here. I don't feel like I'm getting a massive deal at anyone individually. If Malcolm Brogdon ended up being out, maybe I have to re-examine some things here, but a 216 total is probably going to be one of the lower pace games and, a modest overall over-under. I don't think that 7K on Karis LeVert, unless we get word that his minute restriction is done, which I feel like that's going to be baby stepped over the next couple of weeks. I don't feel like I'm getting a massive deal here, Raj. So I'm probably going to be out on Pacers. And on the Knicks side, Julius Randle is usually my go-to guy, 9.3, 9.4K. But again, that pace, the way that they're kind of balanced out, I don't feel like I'm going to prioritize any of the Knicks players here. You can somewhat sell me on a Kemba achieving what he needs to achieve at 6 to 5'9", but that's a pretty saturated area in terms of guards today. Heck, we just think back to the last game, the Cavs, the Darius Garlands, the Colin Sextons, and guys like that. So I'm kind of thinking this is a potential X out game until further notice. I guess the pushback here would be for the Knicks. Believe their rebounding numbers are less than you would expect. A 20.6% offensive rebound rate, 76.8% defensive rebound rate. So maybe there's extra boards there for Sabonis or Turner, but Turner maybe at like a tier 3, very, very loose shot. What are you doing with this game, assuming Brogdon's in? Anything becoming a priority for you?
Yeah, Brogdon's in. This game is basically a write-off, except for some Kemba Walker. I think he still has that 40-point upside when he gets it going. So Kemba Walker, 5,900, I'll take some of. Other than that, there's nobody else in this team. I mean, I would just X this game out. Randall at 94, too many other guys in this 11-game slate. Just make it a 10-game slate and cross everyone off this game except for Kemba.
So 11-game slate, this is one of those 1-point spreads, right? Maybe they go down to the wire. We've seen both teams go down to the wire. It's one of those games I feel like if I exit out, it's definitely going double OT, and I'm going to be really, really salty. So I don't know that I completely rid myself of it. I guess it would be contingent on the amount of lineups that we're discussing here. And 20 or less, I could see myself being okay with going elsewhere. And 50, I'd probably get to a dab of a Sabonis, a dab of a Turner on DK, something like that. Yeah. I wish this guard rotation for the Knicks was a little less cluttered, because I wouldn't hate some 6K shares of Kemba here and there, and even Fournier has a little room for 30 plus fantasy points. RJ Barrett on Fanduel at 6,400. For a Tom Thibodeau rotation, there's only been like two guys I really lean on for big minutes, and it's been Barrett and Randall. And I think Barrett just kind of flies under the radar here, but he does have a little bit of upside. Because of his minutes, but two, because it has been an okay matchup against the Pacers. 33, 36, 39 minutes his last couple games. Last two, 37, 56. If he can, be closer to that than high 20s, yeah, I'd probably buy into it. But again, that's probably 50 to 100 lineup type of player pool, and not so much in 20 or less. Let me get caught up on chat here. Chat, if you're just dropping in, we're back. We're over 130 people right now. I would love to get over 200 today. That would be awesome. But we are doing a 100 like giveaway today. If we get to 100 likes on this video, I'm going to give away a week pass at rundfs.com. So make sure you're smashing that thumbs up, and then stick around. When we do get to 100 likes, I'll set the timer for you guys to type the keyword in chat. If you in order to type in chat, you got to be subscribed. So make sure you guys are logged in, subscribe, and then we'll let the robot choose one of you guys to get yourself a week pass. Even if you're a current subscriber, you can get a week pass added to what you got. So we're trying to get those numbers up. So hit them likes. We're at 50, 60 likes already. 100 should be not a problem, and 100 would be a season high if you don't count yesterday, right? Let's get caught up on live chat here. Nate says, "What up, Gun? Thanks for not tearing people down when they ask you a question like some other people in the industry. Man, I want to see you guys flourish and grow. I know what you're saying, man. I know there's some people that will treat you like your question's dumb and blah 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 blah. That ain't me, man. We all, if you got a passion for basketball and then that inkling for fantasy sports, man, I want to see you guys be great. And if I can help you a little bit, I'll do my best. You touched the Bulls game yet? No. What's up, Young C? We have not. We'll get there. We're only 2 games in. What's up, Al B? Draymond Green season. I'm with that. Birds, please. Press has been okay, buddy. Yo, Ankar's here for the shock, right? Drew Eubanks at best. 3K punt on DK. I'm with that. I don't mind it. Let's move on to the next game here. Orlando Magic hosting the Boston Celtics. Project starting 5 for the Celtics. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams, the Time Lord, taking on Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., and Mo Bamba. He's got hosts calling, man. 212 is our total. 7-point spread in favor of the Boston Celtics. Raj, the Orlando Magic are like an anomaly, man. It's crazy the numbers that they're allowing. First of all, chat, if you haven't kept tabs on the Magic, and I don't blame you if you haven't, the Orlando Magic have a bottom 4 pace in all of basketball, 98.1 possessions per game. But check this out. To parlay a slow pace, they give us the worst defensive efficiency in basketball, 113.6 points per 100 possessions. So normally we're trained to see these low pace games, these low totals, and we're saying, nah, there's no juice there. But for the Magic, they're kind of like testing us, right? Such a low pace. However, their defense is so bad that they become a target. For me, it's a struggle, an extra struggle, because you guys know I don't generally target the Celtics, but the matchup is pretty pure, and I've been playing some Al Horford as of late. Raj, I don't know if you're into the narratives of the storylines out there, but right now there's a little bit of controversy between Marcus Smart and talking about taking shots and stuff like that. So is that hey, let's get things going, let's get it right? What do you do with this game? I'm going to focus on the Celtics first, but I do think the Magic have had a couple of tournament winning guys so far, and people just don't play the Magic because they're the Magic. So let's start with the Celtics. Do you have any high interest in some of these guys? 11-game slate. Thinking about Tatum, almost 10K on DK. Horford, 7K. Jaylen Brown, almost 9K. There are definitely some hard-to-click prices here, but the matchup is pretty doggone good.
I mean, yeah. So Al Horford, 6,900. They finally got his price tag right. He's been giving you essentially 40 every game at 5,600, 59, 58, 65. 69, I'll take 40. I definitely want a little more. At this matchup, Orlando, bottom five against power forwards. Give me Al Horford. It's probably a tier one, tier two guy for me. He's the only guy I think I'm interested in his boss side just because of pricing. Like you mentioned, Jalen Brown at 8,700. Little room there, but still kind of price high. We need a 50 bomb. Tatum at 9,900. I mean, he has to outscore guys like Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid. I mean, even Valanciunas at 85. So I mean, with studs, I'm probably not going to get to Tatum here in this spot just because of a price. You mentioned, yeah, Marcus Smart. I don't know why he thinks he's some like 15-year veteran. He spoke to them like he was, he had 10, 12 years in the league over them. He's 27. They're like 25 or 24. So that was a little weird, but not playing him in this spot. It's just Al Horford for me. Robert Williams is intriguing at 5,900. He's a guy that could smash in this spot and get you that 40 plus game like he did against Charlotte and Washington. But the center position is just so deep today with some studs with Jokic, Towns with no Russell. So giving up a center spot is going to be tough. But if you want to play some Williams, I don't hate it. On the Orlando side, man, again, that center spot, I don't think I'm going to get to a guy like Mo Bamba today. Even though he's a little intriguing, at 7,300 is a big price tag to pay, but we've seen his upside before. I mean, other than that, I'm no Cole Anthony for me. They really priced him up 7,600 on DK, coming off another 60 bomb. I mean, he has 260 bombs like in his past 6 games. So I don't know. Like I'll never, that's something you can never forecast. It just kind of happens, I guess, with him. But at 7,600, he needs a 50, and he does have a floor of like 30, 25. So at 7,600, kind of a tough price to pay. If he goes for 60, I just lose, I guess.
Yeah, Cole Anthony is so far on the season holding on to a 24.5% usage rate, 1.1 Fanduel points per minute, 1.17 DK points per minute. Mo Bamba's over a point per minute as well in the season, and Jalen Suggs, a 26% usage rate, been a little bit more volatile in his end result because he's a little bit more shot dependent, but the Magic are one of those teams that kind of gets lost in the abyss because people just don't like to play the Magic. The pace is so low, and their offensive efficiency is not good as well. But yeah, in this spot, there is some porous defense to be targeted, not just on the Orlando side, but heck, the Boston side as well. They haven't been playing tight as we remember recently. The Boston Celtics to be. They've been bottom 10 in defensive rebounding, and when it comes to offensive rebounding, they're bottom 10 as well. Neither team great at rebounding, and then the Boston Celtics right now are holding on to a 110.8 defensive efficiency, meaning 110.8 points per 100 possessions, and that's good for bottom 5 in basketball. So we have 2 of the bottom 5 defenses through 5, 6, 7 games of the season going at it here today. And on an 11 game slate, and you think about the prices and some of the other ways to go on the slate, it's likely to get lost in the shuffle. But would you be surprised you come back later tonight and like, oh snap, Cole Anthony has 40 again? What? Mo Bamba's got, you know what I'm saying? So I do think there's some diamonds in the rough here. I do think there's some volatility player to player from each team, but the fact that the ceiling is there makes me somewhat interested. Like I said, today being as big as it is, I really, really am going to prioritize the high ceiling over the median projection and the floor. So I'm kind of wanting to get to, hey, maybe I can get away with some Robert Williams, some Al Horford, stuff like that at these prices that people just aren't accustomed to paying. And then Jaylen Brown versus Jason Tatum. It's hard for me to get to these guys ever, but I think today I might throw them in the pool, cap them at 10%. And what I'll probably do is set a rule on Fantasy Cruncher is to not have them in the same lineup. And I don't know if that ended up hurting me, but I feel like at these prices, I don't know how often their ceilings coexist. So I might do something like that. It's like, yeah, I'll play some of these guys, but there's going to be some stipulations, right? On the Magic side, I'm definitely a little less enthralled by the 7+ K Cole Anthony, but like you said in chat, like we talked about, his upside has been there. I'm more interested in guys like Wendell Carter, Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba at 6,600 on FanDuel as a block-centric guy, over 2 blocks per game game so far. The Celtics have allowed over 6 blocks per game. Bamba could rack up those stocks real quick on a FanDuel scoring. So at 6,600, I think he's still power forward eligible. I'd probably be a buyer on Mo Bamba. Let me get caught up on chat, and then we will matriculate on to the next one. Yo, Tyler Pritchard and Mighty Saint, appreciate the subscriptions right here on YouTube, helping us get closer to the 6K goal. What up, EB? Al B says, I mess with Gun because you got all these dudes not from New York saying you're.
Oh, I didn't even know you was a New York thing.
It's like a New York hello, and I always have to explain it. Like, what does that mean? My boy, one of my favorite stories about that is my boy Alex Osmo from Osmo. We did a baseball show earlier this year, and we were talking about what your is, and I was like, your is like a greeting, like hello, right? Well, he took it like as hello and goodbye. So when we were saying our goodbyes, he said, "All right, you're dude," like it was goodbye. I was like, no, that's not how it works. But
I got to give you guys the Toronto man word.
What is that?
The Toronto man calling card. It's just like something that we do with some hype or whatever. See something cool, we just be like, "Jeez, jeez."
So I watch a lot of Fortnite, and a lot of streamers are using that, right? Sheesh. And
it's a Toronto thing.
I didn't know where it came from, but coming from Toronto,
yeah.
all right. I was like, how did that start? And somebody, I saw Cypher to hold his arm. I was like, dude, is he pretending to do drugs? Hold up, what?
You'll see like Drake saying it, even the Biebs, the Weekend, like they're in the conversation, see something cool. It's just, jeez.
What up, Crispy? ABZ said Boston's not playing well defensively. I think there's juice on this game. I agree. 2K Play 23 Andy PrizePicks. I'll talk about PrizePicks here in a little bit. We'll see if we can't hunt some out. Haven't looked at it yet. Harden triple-double tonight. Maybe. Wagner's been low owned and producing. I'm with that. Mighty Saints says first player in your DFS lineup today. Ooh, good question. I don't have an answer yet, so I don't want to push the narrative here. I do feel like I'm going to I feel like I'm going to be a little bit more exciting. Maybe an Anthony Edwards, a Karl-Anthony Towns, somebody like that. Maybe maybe a Curry, right? There's still some discussion to be done to digest this slate. So I don't want to give you a faux answer just yet. G Dolly says, I think 1v1 Wendell Carter over Bamba. Isn't he producing better per minute? I don't know what the actual number is, but I do know they're both getting there. Like every time I look up, they both got like dueling 30s, flirting with 40, right? EB says, how about them Braves? Yes, sir. Braves put it on and did the Lord's work yesterday. Shout out to Jorge Soler. Raj, a funny moment in the Discord yesterday after the lock, right? After NBA lock, kind of hung out in there. You know, we like to talk late swaps and sweat some props, stuff like that. Well, I was watching Jorge Soler work the count full, and just like as a joke, I was like, "Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom." And the Jorge Soler will smack a baseball from earth to heaven. And I was like, I prayed it, right? And then my boy Logan's like, "Wait, are you talking about the game?" Because he thought I was playing PS5 or the World Series, and I didn't want to ruin it. And he goes, "Oh my God, gun!" So if you guys are out there, I definitely prayed for the Soler homer, and it definitely was granted. And then
shout out to the Braves.
Shout out to God.
Shout out to him, yeah.
I was like, what if I got one wish and I spent it on a Soler homer?
I should have prayed for the Jays. Next year.
Move on to the next game here. 76ers hosting the Chicago Bulls. Project starting 5 for the Bulls. Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, Javonte Green, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic taking on Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, Matisse Thybulle, Furkan Korkmaz, and Joel Embiid. On the injury news and notes for the Sixers, Danny Green out, Tobias Harris out, and of course Simmons and Riller been out. On the Bulls side, Kobe White still out, Patrick Williams, of course, not likely to come back anytime soon. So we actually get an interesting Sixers lineup today, because if you think back to the beginning of last year, no Ben Simmons, no Tobias Harris. Is that not a lock button for Joel Embiid? he's going to have all of the usage. And when he's done having the usage, he's going to have some more usage. Going against this Bulls front court, which on paper, the Bulls defensively, you know, they seem like a tight unit. They got a 101.4 defensive rating, but it's not coinciding with great rebound rates. 74.6% defensive rebound rate, 17% offensive rebound rate. So Joel Embiid's in a massive spot to get a likely 20 plus real point, maybe 20 rebound double if he gets the minutes. He didn't play the last game. Andre Drummond stepped in, broke the slate here. The last couple games for Embiid, he's touched 30 minutes. With Embiid so far this season, we've kind of worried about his conditioning. We've heard him say that he couldn't walk after games. So I don't know if he's worked his way back up. Maybe he's better now. And then a lot of these games just weren't very competitive. A lot of 10 to 20 plus point differences. And then a lot of these games have Tobias Harris and Danny Green to a lesser extent, right? They don't have that here today. So Joel Embiid, if I had to guess, right, like this has got to be a 30% usage spot. I'll run the number here, but Raj, I think I'll start with just the general question. We talk about potential favorite plays on the slate. I know it's a modest total 215, but what are you thinking about a little home court Joel Embiid with the entire team on his back today against Vucevic and this DeMar DeRozan front court? Do you think he could be the highest scorer on the slate? When I look at my early projections on this one, I do think that Embiid came in as my highest raw point scorer. I could be wrong on that. Let me double check. There might have been a Luka or something up there. We'll sort it. Go a little bit slower when we're live. Chat, if you hit that thumbs up, though, don't forget, 100 likes. We're doing a giveaway. He was number 2 to Luka and right above Jokic by a pinch. Could Embiid be the most obvious play on the slate? And what is your thoughts and priorities and rankings on him versus some of the other studs that we're going to be sifting through?
Yeah, I mean, Joel Embiid in this spot with Tobias out, Simmons still not playing, like I said, a couple of these other guys out. I mean, he should be the auto lock play of the year. 10-3 against Chicago. Just the minutes past few games, 33-30, 31-30. 13, 19, 7, 15 shots. Clearly, he's still bothered by that knee soreness. Like, he's not 100%. Rebounding numbers, 5, 18, 6, 9, 8. He's had one double-digit rebounding game in his past 5, 6 games. So, I mean, something's off with him, it seems like. But at 10-3, with all these guys out, he got the day of rest. Is this the day we finally see, MVP-level vintage Joel Embiid, 30 points, 20 rebounds? That's his upside. So, I think I need to have some of him. I'm not going to fade him with all these guys, but I don't know if I'm going to tier one, like him versus Jokic and Towns. I think I'm leaning Towns over Embiid 1v1. And even Jokic, I'm probably leaving Jokic over Embiid just because I can count on Jokic more, getting it done, getting the points. I'm not worried about the injury as much. So he's a play. I feel like I should be locking him in, but the way he's been playing and him not being 100%, I don't know if he'll be my highest owned guy.
So 67 minutes is nothing, right? But just as a experiment, I went back to the beginning of last year, took off Tobias Harris, Danny Green, Ben Simmons. It gave me 67 minutes of Joel Embiid at 46% usage, over 2 fantasy points per minute on both sides sites. I'm going to take off Danny Green just in case. Like, I feel like he's not a big usage guy anyway, so maybe I can get a little bit more of a reasonable expectation of no Tobias and no Ben Simmons. It pushed me up to 178 minutes. Usage rate still over 40% and still over 2 fantasy points per minute. So, I think there's an incredible opportunity for Joel Embiid to be one of the highest raw point scorers on the slate. And looking at chat, Brooklyn Silver, shout out to Brooklyn, says 11 game slate, Embiid better hit 70. Yeah, usually your highest scoring or highest price guy has to be the highest scoring, and then more than likely has to be by a mile. Like if he scored 70 and Cat scored 65, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot more responsibility, but I also think there's a little bit more versatility in one getting 2 of those studs on a big slate. 11 game slate usually naturally produces studs and scrubs just because of how many players and ins and outs and injuries there are. I think Embiid could be coupled with another top guy, and he's only 10.3K, which is historically not a crazy price for what we know his a median expectation and his ceiling could be. So I'm kind of really excited to play some Embiid right now. Maybe I should taper that a little bit, but it feels like he's got a really good shot at being the most obvious play in the history of obviousness. And then the other guy I want to talk about here is Gorgeous Niang. Niang popped up last slate, and I was remember we were ready to lock and load Tobias Harris on Fanduel, and it was about, was it 15-20 minutes, it feels like, I don't know exactly, but before lock, Tobias Harris was ruled out. We learned later, protocols, right? Then Gorgeous Niang stepped up to the plate, played 31 minutes against Portland, dropped 37 DKP, 20 plus real points. So he's 3,800 on DraftKings. You think about that price point, a lot of people right now are thinking Cedi Osman, and there's a world where you can get the both, which again pushes the point across that you will probably land on a lot of studs and scrubs here because of the value. Is Gorgeous Niang real? Is he fake? I know him as a backup big from Utah, and then I thought he was more of like the backup center type here, but being forward eligible in the absence of Tobias Harris, and now Danny Green, I think there's a real case to be made that in 20 lineups, I might get a little irresponsible with my Niang exposure. You said the word lock. Is that, do you mean that? Do you expect to have just over 80% Gorgeous Niang in like 20 lineups?
100%. Yeah, 80% 20 lineups, I think, is the way to go. I think he's a direct backup to Tobias Harris. The game's, somewhat similar in a sense. Gorgeous Niang could shoot the three, shot 9 threes last game. Look, he got 5 assists. I don't know if that's the same, but at 3,800, if he just gets you, even like 15 and 10, if he has a good shooting game, 20, maybe 6 rebounds, 5, that's perfectly fine. 3,800 against the Chicago team, I like it. He should see, same minutes projection, should see 28 to 30, 32 minutes. So at 3,800, I think him, Cedi Osman, and we'll talk about Steve McCallum the next game. Those 3 guys, I could have, 80% of all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, Niang's definitely looking like probably gonna profile as probably one of my favorite value plays. So like I said, putting him with a Cedi Osman already creates a lot of opportunity and a lot of ability to really do whatever you want. I'll also say on the Bulls side, man, Lonzo Ball suckers me in at 6K on FanDuel every time. Like, he's always gonna project really well for me. I just need the north side of 30. Like I said, on these slates, I probably want closer to 8x from those 5, 6, 7Ks because of 11 games. You're going to need 400 plus points to score to finish up top. So I think on FanDuel, I'll land on a decent chunk of Lonzo Ball. And then I think it's fair to at least discuss some of these other options here. I'm not too enthralled with Vucevic here, but I do feel like there's a world where Zach LaVine or power forward DeMar DeRozan could step up to the plate here and be a viable play here. The pass, I would say this, we take out Danny Green, we take out Tobias Harris. One of the things that likely happens is we introduce Matisse Thybulle into the mix here, and Thybulle is actually a pretty decent defender. That's kind of his calling cards. Go out there and be a good defender. So depending on who maybe you put Thybulle with to just slow down, I don't think the way 2021 basketball is, a lot of screens and a lot of ways to avoid ISO defense and ISO offense. But Zach LaVine versus DeMar DeRozan, if you had to get here, are you going to get this some DeRozan? Last slate, 37 real points. That's back-to-back games with 30 real points. And he's put up over 20 real points in all but one of his games so far this season. So 20 real points is a really solid starting point. And then now, in the absence of Patrick Williams and going forward into a depleted Sixers lineup here, is there a world where DeRozan can continue getting you 40-plus fantasy points, and do you see yourself getting to former Raptors great often in your lineups?
I just want to say, DeRozan's having a career year. His true shooting percentage is the highest it's ever been. He's shooting the 3-ball well for compared to his career averages. He's just been super efficient, even with sharing the ball with LaVine, Vucevic, and all that. 8,500, he needs a 50 bomb. I don't mind it. The way he's been playing, it's been great. It's just with all those guys healthy, it does cap all their upsides a little bit. It's hard for DeRozan or LaVine to get that 60 bomb, which I think a lot of these studs can get today because they just kind of cancel each other out. So I think they're fine plays if you want to sprinkle never play them together at these prices. But if you fall into either a Levine, a DeRozan, a Vooch, or Lonzo just as a one-off, I don't hate it. But again, it's just kind of hard seeing them reach kind of their true upside with all these guys really healthy.
73 likes, chat at 100 likes. I'll get us a week pass giveaway going at rundfs.com. We have not hit 100 likes on a live stream yet this season. We've come close. I've hit 98, 97 a few times. But man, if we can get to 160 plus, 180 live viewers, I think 100 likes should be pretty obtainable. So if you guys are out there, maybe double check, you hit that like button, and while you're looking that way, see if that red subscribe button's lit up, and click that too, man. Trying to get to 6K subscribers by January 1. Toronto Raptors at the Washington Wizards. Next game on the docket. Project starting 5 for the Raptors: Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., Svi Mikhailiuk, OG Anunoby, Precious Achua taking on Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, and Daniel Gafford, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and Yuta Watanabe all out for the Raps. And on the Wizards side, Davis Bertans out, Thomas Bryant, of course, still out, Hachimura still out. Notable absences for them. On the Raptors, we're creating some opportunity here. A lot of big minutes to be planted on a guy like VanVleet. But let's talk about the emergence of OG Anunoby. I tell you what, if it wasn't for Miles Bridges throughout the first couple weeks of the season, OG Anunoby might be in the running for MIP, and that's coming from a Raptors hater just because my co-host is a Raptors lover. But check out what Anunoby's been doing. 36 real points against the Knicks, a lot of double-digit shot attempts, and a couple of 20-plus real point games here. We've known he could fill up the stat sheets, get you those peripherals, be a good defender, get you those stocks. But heck, if this guy's going to drop 20 to 30 real points here and there, and now in the absence of Scotty Barnes, we've already had no Siakam, is there a world where we're getting a 38-minute Anunoby against guys like Kyle Kuzma, and he has a real shot at being 40 to 50 fantasy points, and people just don't like putting this price point on Anunoby? Same with guys like Miles Bridges. From a jaded Raptors fan, what are you doing with this game? A 212 total is modest, but it's still, a spot where we can plant super deep minutes on somebody. Kevin Durham, Breeze 217, appreciate those subscriptions. That's much love. Raj, what do you do with the Raptors?
I mean, OG Anunoby's absolute lock, tier 1, 7,700 against the Washington Wizards, who picked up their pace the past couple games. He took 27 shots. I expect him to do 20, 25 plus here again with no Scotty Barnes. I mean, I love OG Anunoby and Fred VanVleet. I think he'll be dueling 50 bombs here. Give me all of that. And Steve Mikhailiuk, tier 1, 3,700. Played 34 minutes last game. I expect to play a similar amount, 15 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He'll give you a couple stocks. At 3,700, I mean, we just have so many cheap guys in good spots, seeing the minutes. And it's just, I love these Raptors. I think a team stack the Raptors. Gary Trent, I think, is going to chuck a little more with no Scotty Barnes in there. 5,100. Played 43 minutes against the Knicks in regulation, which is absolutely nuts. So he's seeing those minutes. I don't expect 43 again, but even if he plays 36, 37 at 5,100, if he takes 15 to 20 shots, gets hot from 3, he can get you 40 plus. I think a full stack the Raptors here. On the Washington side, if you want to bring it back with some Bradley Beal, I don't hate it. 9,600. I prefer the bigs, the stud centers in this slate. But again, if you want to bring it back with shooting guard Bradley Beal, we know his upside. He can get hot from 3, get hot from the field, and get you 60 points here. Give me Bradley Beal. I'm probably not getting to any Dinwiddie at 7,200 and Kyle Kuzma at 71. I think they're fine. They can get there. It just seems like, Dinwiddie's kind of priced near his ceiling when Bradley Beal is in. Last couple of games, 39, 38, which seems about right. If you get you 38 at 7,200, it's not amazing. It's not terrible.
Let's have a conversation. What, with Scotty Barnes out, right? With no Siakam.
Mm-hmm. With the rookie of the year, people talking about Kate Cunningham. Imagine if they Kate Cunningham better than Scotty Barnes. What a joke.
First of all, relax. Secondly, the DFS players in all of us were like, can we finally get some Chris Boucher? Can this finally happen?
It's not.
It's not. I don't know what it is. Nick Nurse. I don't know what's going on, but Nick Nurse, Chris Boucher, like it just doesn't happen. And last year there were several opportunities for no center and Siakam being out, and Boucher just never got that run. Instead, what we saw was 31 minutes of Khem Birch. And I said so far in my early projections today, Khem Birch actually projected as the top points per dollar value play. He's going to be hard to throw in a lineup with confidence because he takes up that ever valuable center spot, right? The Embiids, the Cats, the Jokic's, guys like that. But Khem Birch got 31 minutes against the Knicks. Was it a size thing, right? Knicks, you got to play a little bit bigger with their front court. Can you get away with playing a little smaller against the Wizards? Sure. But 31 minutes, decent opportunity here. And we saw him fill up the stat sheet himself. Boards, blocks, steals. And then if he can get to 6, 8, and maybe an elusive 10 real point game at 4K, he could fill a need here. So if you trusted the projection, I would throw him in the player pool. I'm going to throw him in my player pool. Where he falls, he falls. And, I'm sure lineups that have cheaper centers like Khem Birch will, one, fill up the util with a big boy name and probably get to a big boy guard, maybe a Steph Curry, something like that. So I will have Khem Birch in the mix for me as well. The only other talking point I wanted is Van Vliet, AK on Fanduel, 8,500. Him, SGA, guys like that, their team sinks or swim on their performance. But being able to put 38 minutes confidently on a guy like Van Vliet and Anunoby, how much Van Vliet, if any, would you get to in 20 lineups?
Van Vliet in 20 lineups. With the value guys, a center stud, a point guard, I'll probably do 20%, maybe 30. Depending on lineup construction, I'm thinking, get 2 of the 3 value guys, if not all 3, and get into Embiid, Towns, someone like that. But Van Vliet versus Anthony Edwards is intriguing. Van Vliet versus, let's see some other comps here for a guy like Van Vliet. Van Vliet versus DeJounte Murray. I think I'll probably go Van Vliet over Murray. Van Vliet versus LaMelo Ball. That's an interesting one. I think I might leave LaMelo Ball with the way he's been playing and that Golden State matchup. But, I think Van Vliet has that similar 50-point upside.
All right, and the other name I see in chat, and I saw it floating around before the game last time, was Delano Banton. Only got to 8 minutes. Did he get hurt in that game? Because he didn't touch the court in the second half. I know Ed brought him up in the RunDFS.com voice chat, the pre-lock Discord. And I kind of shot it down. And then per minute, like he was doing all right. He had 11 fantasy points in 8 minutes, so he was over a point per minute. But I don't really have, I don't really see myself getting to a lane where I'm going to put him in my mix here. So just wanted to at least put that out there. Justin Jennings says Evan Mobley for Rookie of the Year, pushing back on your on your take there. What up, Ronnie? What up, LF? G Yali says Van Vliet's only 17% owned. I don't know, he's like 30% on FanDuel when I check. That's pretty aggressive for an 11-game slate. I would say that historically, 30% owned on Anunoby at 7 to 8K. And we're talking FanDuel 7,300. Yeah, there's a world where he just is an okay play at 40 fantasy points. I haven't really consumed and digested the 7K forward range, at least the small forward range on FanDuel. I guess a lot of it's up. Obviously, I will like some Anthony Edwards here today. He could be somebody that you put in a small forward spot. But I guess Anunoby's right there in the middle. So it might just be the best of the worst, and there's not really a ton to love at the high end and low end points per dollar. Maybe Josh Hart picks up some steam if Ingram's out, and we know help me out. Give it the concussion last night. What was it? Why Herb Jones? We know Herb Jones is going to be out. There's a lot of names you have to memorize when you do this. Let's move on to the next game here. Yeah, Brooklyn Nets hosting the Atlanta Hawks. Project starting 5 for the Hawks. Trae Young, Bogdan Bogdanovic, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, Clint Capella, taking on James Harden, Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin. 221s our total. 5-point spread in favor of the Brooklyn Nets. James Harden is 9,900 on FanDuel, 10.2K on DraftKings, has put together, at least lately, fantasy relevant outputs, including a triple-double in his last outing against the Detroit Pistons in just 29 minutes. And then against Indiana, he finally got to the free throw line. 19 free throw attempts, hit 16 of those, easily his season high, and that may hold up for the rest of the year. Prior to that, we've seen the new foul rules really pull away some of those implied points from him, the 10 to 15 free throws that we almost banked on last year. This year, Raj, how often is James Harden going to eclipse 50 fantasy points on 9 shot attempts? That's Detroit Pistons basketball, baby. 10.2K. It's going to be one of those price points where I'm not uber excited to jam him in my lineups. I understand that there's a outcome for him to thrive just fine against Trae Young. I would think the bulk of my interest goes to Kevin Durant, who I expect to be more the point per minute kind of guy. But I could see myself not too enthralled with either or on an 11-game slate when there's a little bit more bang for my buck in the 9K, 8K range. So I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on the Nets here. And then the Hawks generally feel a little bit too balanced for me. John Collins and Trae Young and Bogdanovich all had some tags on them to watch. I think Bogdanovich was the only real ones. Trae Young is probable. Bogdanovich is probable. Kevin Huerter is probable. Collins is the one that still has a lingering Q tag. He's dealing with a left foot strain. If he can't go, Gorgie Zhang and Danilo Gallinari, guys like that might open up. But it does feel like, generally speaking, this Hawks team is priced appropriately. They're pretty balanced, and with Gallinari back in the mix, you got Lou Williams now, good for 10 minutes. Is it the game that gets left off? I feel like you asked me 3 weeks ago, Hawks and the Nets, I'd be loading up, but I don't feel I don't got the warm and fuzzies right now. What say you?
I mean, if John Collins doesn't play, I think that opens up a couple guys. I think a guy like Capella maybe sees a few extra minutes there. At 7,100, he could have some upside there if he sees 36 minutes. Drop away the last game, I could see him dropping 45 plus there. If you really want to take shots on, guys like if Collins doesn't play, I think someone of Reddish, Hunter, Herder probably pops off. They're on that 4K range. One of those guys probably gives you 30 DKP. If not more, it can get you that tournament value hit. So if you want to kind of take a shot at one of them, if Collins sits, I'm all right with that. Even a guy like Gallinari at 3,500, we've seen him, get hot from the field, he can definitely get you 10x that price. So if you want to take shots on that, I don't hate it. And Brooklyn, I mean, I'm with you. Play Harden, you play Durant as one of the stars. I'm not fading those guys. I think Harden at 10-2 with all the value is going to be easy to get to. Give you 50 plus at that price. He needs to outscore Towns and Embiid, a couple of these other guys. But I'm not fading Durant or Harden because both those guys have 60-point upside, if not more.
But in 20, you can't be that thin. Like, you still need to gravitate towards a core. I don't know how, what your personal approach is going to be, but I would have to make some stringent decisions when it came to studs. I wouldn't feel like having one Harden in 20 lineups, you know what I'm saying? I really want to have a tight core here. So I guess that would be, in 50 lineups, I would feel a little bit more like I need to get to a shot at Harden. But I also don't feel like 50 plus one is something that I miss out on and feel like I can't win without it. And I also don't know if that's the norm, right? A triple double on 9 shots to get 50 plus, and then a game where he had 16 free throw attempts. Everything else before that tells me maybe Harden's just a mid to high 40s player. So wouldn't be a priority for me in 20 lineups. Let me pull up Brooklyn here. By the way, Brock, if you're out there and you just got a week pass at rundfs.com, can you DM me on Discord? Looks like there is just DM me on Discord if you're out there, and I'll take care of you. So far this season, Kevin Durant averaging 1.4 fantasy point per minute on both DK and Fanduel. So he's the guy for me that makes the most sense. If Collins was in, historically, we've seen Collins get into foul trouble. So I would be very fearful of John Collins getting into some Kevin Durant, even if he did play. But I do think the mathematical play here, and really the right play for me, is going to be Durant over Harden. Of course, that's going to cost me 10.8K, almost 11K. But like you said, there's plenty of value here. And I talked about maybe if you believed in Kem Birch, you do believe in Mikalik, you do believe in Jetty Osman, you do believe in Gorgeous Niang. if you're giving up that center spot, there's still upside to be had in other positions. And for me, Kevin Durant could be that guy. If you believe this game is competitive, 220 plus total, Kevin Durant easily should lead the Nets in per minute production as long as he doesn't get ejected again. We'll be vibing, right? So I'm interested in Durant. I don't know for sure if I can speak on behalf of what I'm doing with him in a 20 lineup venture, but this feels like a spot where maybe I can get Durant at a decent ownership because of the value that's here, and maybe people aren't using it for the forward spot, right? Let me get caught up in chat here. How do I swap out of my dummy lineups for my builds? What do you mean, Josh? Like you use the dummy lineup to reserve 150 entries, and now you want to put your scripted lineup in that. So the best way to do that, I actually have a video on this channel called how to upload 150 lineups on Fanduel. It's the same process on both sites. You would download the new CSV, copy and paste from your optimizer CSV into the active CSV from whichever website you're talking about, and go for that. LF says, can you talk about Yahoo stats too? So I have Yahoo projections, and Yahoo's essentially going to be FanDuel, right? I believe they're 1-to-1. They're exact same scoring. So I would probably be lying if I said I could grasp for the Yahoo pricing off the top of my head. But I do have Yahoo projections coded into the spreadsheet as well. So if there is the guy that you specifically want to be keyed in on, let me know. But for the most part, if you're out there as a Yahoo user and you don't play FanDuel or DraftKings and you didn't know, Yahoo has the same scoring as FanDuel. So those stats would hold up on Yahoo as well. The blocks, the steals, and stuff like that. I believe it's 1-to-1, the same scoring. I think they're using the official NBA fantasy scoring, right? Ronnie says, Gallo, would you get to some Gallinari if Collins was out? He's 3,500. Hey, he's cheap enough, chipping a chair for 25 to 30 fantasy points is compared to some of the other 3K options. Yeah, sure, I wouldn't talk you down from that ledge. Jetty's going to be lower owned than Svi Mikhailiuk. Maybe. I haven't absorbed ownership projections yet. Just DM'd me. All right, get out. Yeah, that's it. Okay, Brock. So you see the issue. I will definitely fix that for you immediately when I get off the air. I got you, bro. Is Jetty leverage? Maybe, I don't know. All right, let's move on. Where are we at on likes, actually? So we're at 180. I think that's 180 viewers with 93 likes. We can get to 100 just like that. If you're out there lurking, hit that thumbs up button. At 100, I will do a week pass giveaway for rundfs.com, and then 180 would be is already a record for this season. So much love to you guys out there. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 6K subscribers. But yeah, get us to 100 likes and we will for sure give away a week pass at rundfs.com. Let's move on to the next game. Hopefully all that happens while we're talking this game and I can set up that giveaway for you guys in chat. Clippers at the Timberwolves. Feels like a good game to target. Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Paul George, Nick Batum, and Ivica Zubac taking on Patrick Beverly, maybe Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Jared Vanderbilt, and Carl Anthony Towns, the big cat, Ernie Ladd. 212.5 total, 2-point spread in favor of the visiting LA Clippers. Let's take a gander, if you will, at the Minnesota Timberwolves injury news and notes. D'Angelo Russell, we know, out for this game, but we did have a questionable tag on Patrick Beverly, and that could make things really fishy, especially if we didn't quite have that news before lock. It is an 8 p.m. game, only an hour after main slate lock, so I do have high hopes that we would have that news, but Patrick Beverly is dealing with left calf soreness. He was a full participant in Tuesday's practice, so he could be closer to in than out. We'll keep an eye on that. If he can't go, or even if he can go, we might be looking at a couple of ball handlers like Jordan McLaughlin and maybe even Malik Beasley to kind of step up and achieve some value at their salary. So guys to keep in mind while I say, hey, a BA to baby. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Appreciate that follow. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Knowing that D-Russ is out, just focusing on that for a second. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns are going to pop. Ceiling wise, right? You know that both these guys have the ability to drop 40s, drop 50s, especially Edwards, and then Karl-Anthony Towns. We just watched this man go absolutely ballistic. You know he's going to be watching those gorillas fight to the death before the game, Raj. He's at 10.6K. That's right there around the Kevin Durant price point. 58 in his last game, 70 against the Pelicans earlier this year. In this spot, going against the Clippers, you know, having to likely absolve that much more responsibility, that much usage. Thinking about the boom bust potential here, I do think maybe the bust potential is a little bit higher than you would like it, but there's a real chance that Cat could lead the slate in fantasy points. I'm gonna pull up the NBA Wowie tool from Add More Funds. By the way, if you guys are not using this tool, I definitely recommend it. Exclamation point AMF in the chat. Go check them out. This tool is free. You can get some more in-depth access, is like what I have if you do, you know, pitch in with the sponsor account. But you can use the basic stuff for free. So if you do want to check it out, use that link in chat. I'm going to take off D'Angelo Russell, and I'm going to put on Anthony Edwards, crossing over with Anthony Edwards. Someone out there has a relative with a D in their name, a D DraftKings. Is that you? Let's put on Karl-Anthony Towns. Let's put on Anthony Edwards. Let's take off D-Russ. This year alone, not going to be a lot of minutes because it is a young season, but in 78 minutes of sample size, we got 1.54 fantasy points per minute on Karl-Anthony Towns and 1.2 DK fantasy points per minute on Anthony Edwards. So that's kind of the what I'm trying to drive here is those two guys could really be a nice combo here. You got to pay 20K plus for the both of them. Rod, so with a 212 total, kind of modest, what is your level of interest in getting to these two? And is is the bust potential too high, or are you just gonna gamble on these guys being the play? Because I look at Karl-Anthony Towns and I think about Joel Embiid, a little bit cheaper with everyone out, right? No Tobias, no Simmons, Green. Like, is Embiid just a better play than Cat, or are you signing up for some Cat? You signing up for some Anthony Edwards?
I think Cat and Embiid, it's almost a coin. I think Cat, Embiid, and Jokic are just coin flips. You know, at their price, I think they're all in great spots. Cat with, like I said, no D'Angelo Russell. This could be a triple double spot for Cat. I think him, you know, 30 real life points, 10 rebounds. He got 6 assists last game. He can get a couple more. That's a triple double here. So at 10-6, I like him. I like him more than Anthony Edwards. I think he's a lot safer than Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards can always have a bad shooting night, especially with him. Never shoots a great percentage. So definitely safer. But obviously with Edwards, he's, you know, $2K cheaper. Yeah, about $2,200 cheaper. 8,400. You know, you match Anthony Edwards up with guys like Van Vliet, LaMelo. It's a fine matchup. You know, the Clippers are not anyone to be scared of. So 8,500, I'll have some of him, but he's not like a tier 1 lock. I think I'll definitely lock in Towns. On DK, you can play 2 centers. So it's some Towns and Embiid with all the value today. I like lineups like that, so I don't hate that. On the Clippers side, I think Paul George, you know, it's his team, it's a show, it's Minnesota. If you want to get some Paul George, that's great. Coming off a back-to-back 60 bombs, can he make it 3 in a row? I think he's a guy that might get overlooked here in the spot. He's 10-9, so he has to outscore guys like Luka. You know, he essentially has to be the highest scorer on the slate. But I think in tournaments at 10-9, man, it's a lot of these studs. I got to kind of wait to see who I want to play. A lot of these studs are in great spots with a lot of the supporting cast injured, not there. And they can all hit you. They might all just get you 60 and it doesn't even matter.
So the Clippers, man, this team is not good, and they are favored by 2 on the road here. So a little bit of disrespect, I think, at least advanced metrically, in my opinion. I guess D-Russ is worth that. But offensively, the Clippers come in with a bottom 5 offensive efficiency, and defensively they're okay. And I think that's what's kind of keeping them afloat. But they're losing just about every other category, notably rebounds. The Clippers have the 3rd lowest offensive rebound rate in basketball so far, and a bottom 6, bottom 7 defensive rebound rate. So there is a world that this game stays closer, more competitive than I guess the 2-point spread is suggesting that it's competitive, but we saw in the last game, it took every ounce of Paul George to keep that game going. So I agree with what you just said. Paul George maybe gets priced out of a lot of people's perspectives when they're building their lineups. And I'll say this, that we get so caught up in value a lot of the times, especially some of you newer players, that you don't really put context to the value. You don't really understand, like, if you score 60 plus fantasy points, that dog's gonna hunt almost at any price. So you start thinking less about the return on investment and thinking more about, all right, if we get some big boys that can get 60, 70 fantasy points, I don't care if they're 11K, 12K, that many raw points in one spot has a shot to get there. And if you think 60 plus fantasy points is a real range of outcome for Paul George, and it is, he's seen that in almost 4 of his games so far. If you look at that 58 in game number 1, this is a spot, I think, for Paul George to thrive, and hopefully the price keeps a lot of the field away from him, and they start trending towards some of the middle tier guys, or even the center guys. And you know, chat, we talked about being contrarian, using some leverage here. If that is the case, if you can get Paul George at a sub 20% ownership, and all year long it feels like he's been that, yeah, use that value. You can still apply the chalk value, but maybe get to some of the different studs. And on 11 game slate, I'm not expecting a ton of big ownerships at any one big stud anyway. It seems to be a little bit more diluted. But Paul George absolutely would make a lot of sense if he dropped another 60 bomb. Around Paul George, I think Bledsoe's getting a little too cheap. My projections will love him every slate. Right now, they're digging him for 27 DKP, almost 30 fantasy points on Fanduel, getting you some steals, almost 2 steals a game right now. That will definitely hold up on a Fanduel sense. And yeah, Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard, those guys have definitely contributed from a fantasy perspective this year. They're getting priced to where you're going to need the mid 20s to the high 20s. But yeah, there's definitely plenty of paths to go. Patrick Beverley, man. If you knew Beverley was in right now, considering D-Russ is out, Beverley versus Paul George, that'll be fun. At $3,700, is Beverley somebody that interests you? For me, I gotta say probably not, because we've seen him start in the past for other teams. He's been almost always a peripheral first guy, and for him to kind of get there, he's going to need a big peripheral game. But the benefit here is this isn't, at least on DraftKings, this isn't 5K Beverley. It's 3,700. If you knew right now that Beverley was in, would you be interested?
I'm not interested in any of these kind of side pieces, even with Beverley here. I just don't see. Again, I think the big kind of key value guys I'll lock in are Cedi Osman, Fee, and Gorgeous Nick. So, other than in this Minnesota game, other than Towns and Anthony Edwards, I don't think I'm getting to any of these other guys. The same with the Clippers. I think another thing I mentioned, Zubac is intriguing. $4,200. If there's ever a game where he plays 25, 30 minutes, you would think it's against Cat. They need a size, but it's also maybe they just want Hartenstein to see some minutes and always want to give him a role. But in deep field tournaments, I don't mind that. But I'm just not getting to any of these other peripheral guys. It's just the studs in this game for me.
Yeah. Let me get caught up on chat. By the way, chat, we're at over 100 likes, over 180 live viewers. So I'm a man of my word. Let's do it. For the next 15 minutes, the raffle is open. We'll start that giveaway in chat. You should see it. I believe it's going to prompt you guys to type exclamation point giveaway. Let me make sure that it's going to do that, because I don't see it yet. No, it hasn't done that yet. What am I doing wrong? It says entries are open, so I think it should be there. There it goes. So exclamation point raffle, get entered into the drawing. If you're out there, you're watching, you're like, how come I can't type in chat? You got to be subscribed. It's a little bit of fun. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, then type exclamation point giveaway. What that'll do is we'll give you a free week pass at rundfs.com. You'll be able to pop open the spreadsheets, look at my player pool tonight, look at my projections. You don't have to use it. You don't have to tail it. You just kind of compare yours to mine, and then get into that rundfs.com VIP Discord every day before lock for 2 hours. We're vibing in there, talking plays, shooting some breeze, carving out some player pools, hunting some prop picks, hunting some prize picks. So have some fun, man. A little bit of a thank you guys for hanging out. We are pushing bigger numbers on this stream than we have all season. So hopefully we can get back to the 200 plus concurrent viewers. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you though. For generally though, I think Paul George can get there for me. Looking at, I want to say looking at the other side here, I felt like this morning I expected to be much more interested in the Timberwolves without D-Rust, and I'm really feeling in the moment.
Hmm.
But I guess at these price points, I'm just wondering how often can I get Edwards and Cat to combine for 100 plus? I definitely think it's a decent percent, but would you argue that maybe I let a couple of them like get a little bit of overlap, but generally, would you rather have one or the other? Do you feel like if you're purely chasing ceiling, that Edwards ceiling and Cat ceiling aren't going to coexist at these prices, or are you just going to let it fly, saying 35 minutes on both? This is how the Timberwolves score basketball points.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree that I think if you play those two, I'd almost kind of feel forced to kind of play a Paul George. I think if those two both hit their ceiling, I think Paul George outscores both of them, and it's not even close. So I think it's really hard to kind of play those two together and expect the optimal lineup here because trying to bring it back with Paul George is just too much salary with those three guys. But I would definitely stick to one or the other with the Timberwolves. This big of a slate and these other studs that we talked about in great spots, playing those guys together, I think just limits your upside. It's probably not going to take anything down.
That's what I'm scared of. We'll see. Anyway, let's move on to the next game here. Memphis Grizzlies hosting the Denver Nuggets. Project starting five for the Nuggets: Monte Morris, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic taking on Ja Morant, Anthony Melton, Desmond Bain. I was gonna do a Batman bit. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Stone Cold Steven Adams. It's gonna get one board. What? We got a 215 total. It's a pick 'em. Kind of speeding up a little bit since it's already 3:30. Ooh, speed round here. Nikola Jokic, good play, 11.4K. If you got a game that can stay close, Jokic is going to go out there. He's going to ball. Steven Adams, a little bit more traditional defensively, where the further you get him away from the rim, the less effective he is. I think it's easy for me to kind of key in on Jokic. I could see some droppings of Barton or Porter in the mix, but Jokic is kind of the key guy for me here. And then Ja Morant, 9.5, 9.3. I don't think on 11 game slates where I trust a 9+K Ja Morant to be the optimal play. I think there is a world where he drops 50, but it's also one of those spots where, like I said at the top of the stream, I'm really prioritizing ceiling over median and floor more so today than ever. Is there anything other than Jokic that you're feeling really strong about from this game?
I mean, Jokic, he finally had a bit of a down game last game. At 11-4, you need 60 plus. He got you 49 in a bit of a quiet game for him. But I'd go right back to it. He could be the highest scorer of the slate anytime. Again, 11-4, give me all of that. Not going to play any of the other Denver guys. People want to keep taking shots on Michael Porter. That's fine. But I just don't think he's not as good as people think, or the usage just isn't there with this team right now. They're not using him the right way. So I'm going to stay off that. Memphis side, man, against this Denver team, Ja Morant is 9-3. I just can't get to him today. I think he's a fine play, but it's just, again, this big of a slate. I think you can scratch this game out too, except for Jokic. Even then, I'll tell you the truth, like in 10 lineups, I can get away with no Jokic. Even in 20, and no Jokic, I might be okay with it.
It's 11.4K. It comes down to, can it be a top scorer, top two, top three scorer on the slate? Absolutely could. You need the game to stay close. The fact that it's a pick'em is very encouraging to me. He's been an absolute manimal to start the year. So I do like the propensity of him being high owned. I do think if he projects low owned, whether it be under 15%, we put him in. We use the value that the slate's given us, and we let the pivots happen. Right? If the public's gonna get to the Edwards and Cat just because D-Russ is out, hey, Jokic can score as much as Cat on a normal night anyway, so that might be the way I go here. I definitely think Jokic is kind of the start and finish spot for me right now. And then on the Grizzly side, I don't have any priorities, any tier ones here. So that's what I got. Let's move on to the next game here. Dallas Mavericks at the San Antonio Spurs. Project starting five for the Mavericks: Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis, Dwight Powell, taking on DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Doug McDermott, Keldon Johnson, and Drew Eubanks. Jakob Poeltl ruled out. He has got to enter. Health and safety protocols. We're dealing with a 216 total, 2-point spread. That was actually put in before the Jakob Poeltl information. So let me be a little bit sure and safe about this. Let's go check out the spread now. The Mavs are on night two of a back-to-back. Last night started strong against the Miami Heat, but couldn't hold up. He came back and bought them. The Miami Heat are looking like a problem. San Antonio game, yeah, still a 2-point spread. 217s are total here. So losing Jakob Poeltl is not nothing. I think that is something that we have to be cognizant of his production for the team and what he represents for the team. So I'm going to pull up the Spurs as is without putting anyone on, anyone off, and show you that Jakob Poeltl so far this season has been over a fantasy point per minute, 17.5% true rebounding percentage, and an 18.7% usage rate. So those are like backbone numbers, and I've played him quite a bit this year and in seasons past when he was on the south side of 7K. We take him out of the mix here, it gets a little bit more iffy, right? Drew Eubanks has been over a point per minute. Do we get a high level of minutes, a high predictive value in minutes for him? I would assume that he would be the guy that benefits the most, but you know what they say when you assume, right? So I think you think about Drew Eubanks, you think about maybe Thaddeus Young, guys like that, Jock Landell. I think Eubanks is going to be the next man up for me, but I also think that, you know, maybe people are getting a little too excited to get to the Eubanks, get to the Thad Young. So I think I'm going to play it safe here. I'm going to put him in the player pool, probably put a low ceiling on him, maybe 20-25%, at least on the Eubanks. I would probably gravitate more towards the starter no matter what, because the Mavs are a solid matchup. Not a great rebounding team. Maybe the rebound numbers come up if Porzingis is able to go. But remember, there's a world where Porzingis could be closer to out, and then Claybal's out. Let me get the skinny on Porzingis just to be safe. By the way, chat, exclamation point raffle, just a few more minutes to get into the drawing for the week pass. Kristaps Porzingis is hopeful that he'll be able to play tonight. Porzingis will miss. All right. So maybe they held him out last night as a precaution and hope that he could play one of the back-to-back, but watch out for sure. If he did play, I mean, I guess 7 to 7.5K Porzingis for 40-plus fantasy points becomes a little bit interesting, but it's nothing that I want to chase and nothing I think I'm going to make a priority. Jalen Brunson's been one of my favorite Mavs to target, and on FanDuel, his price has been steady at the 4K range. And at 4,600, I do like that price point yet again.
Even with Porzingis back?
Even with Porzingis back. If this moves Brunson back to the... Yesterday, he started, right? If this moves Brunson back to the bench, 6-man viability here, I think he is the firecracker for this team. And he's the only reason that the Mavs have really been competitive in some of the games that they had no business being competitive in. So 4,600, I still have some shares of Jalen Brunson. Now let's talk about the Spurs here. So I did take off Jakob Poeltl, and I want to see what it's done for usage rates. DeJounte Murray's at 25% usage rate, about 1.3 fantasy point per minute on both FanDuel and DraftKings. He does have triple-double potential, stuffs the stat sheet. 89 on FanDuel, 92 on DK. You need that 50-plus. Keeping it quick, sense of urgency here, Raj. Luka's a stud on the slate. It's a back-to-back. He hasn't been fantastic from a fantasy perspective this year. Could have Porzingis back. What are you liking from this game, if anything? For me, I'm thinking it's big field tournament exposure to Luka here and there. Jalen Brunson on FanDuel, DeJounte Murray for sure, maybe a scatter of Derek White, and then on DraftKings and FanDuel in the optimizer, I would open a Eubanks, maybe open a Thad Young, probably set a roll to not have both, and just let that rip with like a 20% ceiling. Do you agree with any of that fundamentally, or nah?
I think I agree with you there. I mean, if Porzingis plays, I'm fine with just kind of fading this entire Dallas team. Even Brunson, like I get it, 6-man roll 5-1, that's fine. If he gets you 30, 35, you'll take that all day, every day. But I mean, other than that, I'm just not running to anybody if Porzingis plays. I think they're all kind of priced up for Porzingis being out. Luka's not as used, but Luka just has been playing well as he was the past couple of years. You know, it's kind of been shooting like Damian Lillard, just not so well. So at 7-7, he's probably one of my least favorite studs on the slate. It's probably 5, maybe 6 other studs I'll take over him.
Mm-hmm.
The San Antonio side, I mean, with no Poeltl, I think I just stay away from the Eubanks, Thaddeus Young thing. I think both could play 20 minutes. You know, if they want to split the minutes up between them, both those guys played 20 minutes at 4,100. Eubanks at 3K. I think giving up a center spot for Eubanks is tough with Embiid and Towns and a couple of these other guys who can play center. So I'll just avoid that situation. DeJounte Murray is going to get a triple-double one of these days. He's always kind of close. So in this spot against Dallas, 9-2, if he triple doubles and gets you 55, fantasy points, I could see it. How much I'll get to him, just gonna have to wait and see because I'll probably will be paying up at that center spot. So I mean, this game is just I thought I'd like it, and then you look at the pieces, look at this other slate. This might be a write-off too for me.
I'm on the fence here, but I think the Porzingis news would be would at least push the needle for me, at least a little bit more aggressive on Jalen Brunson interest if Porzingis was unable to go, and then maybe a little bit more Dwight Powell interest if Porzingis was unable to go. Remember, no Claybot here, so there's some minutes to be represented from the front court there that we saw last night. They got a little bit different, but they still got Willie Cauley-Stein, Moses Brown, and Boban Marjanovic, but Jason Kidd really has not been unleashing any of those guys. So you probably see DFS stretch out again to the 4. Last night, backup minutes here. Boban 2 minutes in the first quarter. Moses Brown 1 minute to mop it up at the end there. But it was really just Dwight Powell, 25 minutes. He had 5 fouls. Maybe gets a few more if the game stays competitive. And then Willie Cauley-Stein 19. So both teams could be a little bit more, a little bit volatile when it comes to front court minutes. Looking at the chat, my boy Josh Jennings says, what's the prize pick prop for Murray rebounds? Incredible setup. He threw me the softball. Aaron Judge, deep right field. There it goes. See ya.
Aaron Judge strikeout is what's most likely going to happen. But continue.
PrizePicks.com. Guys, if you haven't tried PrizePicks, it's an incredible way to reward your research for DFS, especially your Fanduel and your Yahoo research that you're already doing, and isolate the stress and even up the odds a little bit more. You don't have to worry about going against others with 100, 150 lineups. You don't have to beat 100,000 entries. You just got to beat the projection, and it's a lot of fun. So check them out, PrizePicks.com. You can download the app on your Android, your iPhone. You can use the desktop version as well. We definitely love hunting good lines in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, and they let you play against projections on everything: basketball, football, college football, hockey, golf, MMA, soccer, NASCAR, disc golf, CSGO, man, a little bit of everything. And I've seen some of the most incredible multi-entry tickets with all these different sports come out. But from a basketball standpoint, they allow you to isolate real points, rebounds, assists, 3 points made, free throws made, your usual prop bets. But they also add that DFS element. You can bet against their fantasy projection. They use the official NBA scoring, which is the same scoring as FanDuel. So it's a great way to diversify your daily spend and get yourself a little bit of stress, a little less stress-free action. So go check it out. If you use promo code GUNDACKER when you sign up, they will double your first deposit up to $100. That's massive. Hey, $20 turns into $40. Let's fly out a couple of $5 tickets. Have some fun here. You can have a minimum of two pick entries up to 5. They have flex spots. It's not just straight up parlay, must get everything right. You can be a little bit more responsible with the money. So check it out. We'll talk about a couple of these picks here. My boy Josh said, what's the rebound prop for DeJounte Murray? So when we go to rebounds, we're going to control F DeJounte Murray. And he's at 7.5. That's pretty high. So even if you thought that was aggressive, one of the things you can use PrizePicks for if you are playing FanDuel as well is, hey, all right, PrizePicks, they're setting sharp projections. Let me see what they're thinking here. Let me compare their numbers for some of these guys versus the price points on FanDuel. So 7.5, that's pretty high. That's pretty aggressive. I probably would stay away from that, but that answers your question. What you could do is go look at the fantasy points, the fantasy score here, and DeJounte Murray, their line that they're setting DeJounte at is 38. So if you were a believer in DeJounte Murray without Jakob Poeltl, this Mavs defense hasn't been shut down, anything like that. 38 fantasy points, for a little bit on the light side. If you are a subscriber at RunDFS.com, we have this player props tab in the spreadsheet. I can compare my projection to the PrizePicks projection, and if there's a big enough discrepancy, I'll bet one way or the other. I've got DeJounte Murray for 44 FanDuel points. That's the PrizePicks points as well. So that's going to give me a 6-point discrepancy. Hey, I'm going to take the over on 38 PrizePick points on DeJounte Murray. If you guys want to tell that, good luck. hit that Discord and let me know what you're adding to it. Let me know on Twitter as well. So try out PrizePicks. Where are we at on the giveaway? We've got 3 minutes left. If you're out there watching, you're just tuning in, what the heck is he talking about? I'm going to give away a week pass at rundfs.com. All you got to do is be subscribed, hit that thumbs up, and type exclamation point raffle in chat. While we'll do that, let's talk about one more game. We got 2 games left. We're going to try to make it quick, get you guys got out of here. Golden State Warriors hosting the Charlotte Hornets. Project starting 5 for the Hornets: LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, Mason Plumlee, taking on Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney. 227 is our total. 6-point spread in favor of the home team, Golden State Warriors. The Charlotte Hornets have been a team that I have liked to stack against so far this season. It was all over that Cavs stack last time out. Check this out. Hornets are coming into this game with a top 10 pace. And when it comes to defensive efficiency, really, really bad. 111.5 points per 100 possessions. That is 3rd worst in basketball. But it's kind of like last year's Kansas City Chiefs, right? They got a bad defense, but they got a good offense with an active Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, and the Miles Bridges emergence. They have the 2nd best offensive efficiency rating in all of basketball. So they're going to push the pace. They're going to score a lot of points, and they're going to play bad enough defense for other teams to get there as well, which is making their games pretty stackable. And they're going against a team that loves to push the pace and score a lot of points, the Golden State Warriors. So, Raj, real quick here, 8,600 on LaMelo Ball. I already know 33 plus minutes of that is something that I'm going to be an investor in. Steph Curry is a great bring back to that. I like Steph Curry a little bit more on Fanduel at 10.1K, projecting for 50 fantasy points there. I think you can justify it. Draymond Green's a little bit tighter at his price point, maybe not as much meat left on the bone, but can absolutely still get there. Babe, if you're in the other room, could you bring me a napkin? Andrew Wiggins is at 6'3", 6'2". I think 30 plus fantasy points is a realistic range of outcome for him. But let's talk about Miles Bridges, 8,100 on FanDuel, 8,100 on DraftKings. Do you think that Miles Bridges can continue this incredible pace that he is playing of 20 plus real points per game? And then lately, with Rozier back in the mix, we've seen an increase in assist. Your thoughts on Miles Bridges, your thoughts on this game?
I mean, I didn't expect guys like LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges to, continue putting up numbers with Rozier back, but, they got it done against the Golden State matchup, another premier matchup for them. This game could easily be the biggest shootout of the night. So give me some LaMelo Ball at 8,600. We haven't really talked about too many point guards today, so I think he'll be, if you're going to pay up, he'll be one of those guys you definitely want to pay up for. Bridges is at that small forward, power forward spot. I don't think I'm going to get to a ton of him just because a lot of the value is there. You have Seti Osman, you have a Gorgeous Nang, power forward, and you have Steve McCallick, that's shooting guard, small forward. So just because of lineup construction, I probably don't get to a lot of Bridges at 8-1. He needs to get you 40. 40 is not going to get it done in tournaments today. He probably needs 50. So I'm okay fading it, but damn it, look at it. He shot 4 for 18 and still got you 45 DKP. So those steals and blocks, I don't know how real they are, but he does seem to be getting these stocks. Maybe I end up with it, but again, because of lineup construction, I'll probably wind up with a lot of him. I do love Draymond Green. You talked about earlier last time, stacked in Charlotte. This is a vintage Draymond Green, 12 points, 12 assists, 12 rebound. Give me a triple-double give me the triple-double prop PrizePicks for Draymond Green. 7,100, I'll take that all day.
Triple-double prop?
Yeah, give me the triple-double prop for Draymond Green and put the bag down on that, because this is the one where he's going to get you that triple-double. Steph Curry, you mentioned too, 11-1, bit of a tough price tag to get to, again, if I'm paying up percenters, but if I want to pay up for him, I think it's fine too. But he probably won't be not a tier 1, maybe not even tier 2.
All right, if you're out there, it looks like a couple of you guys tried to get in that raffle a little bit late. I just reopened it, exclamation point raffle. Get in there. We'll do one more game. This last game on the docket. Reminder, after the stream, in about 9 minutes, I'll be in the rundfs.com VIP Discord. You guys can get in there. $20 bill gets you in there for a week. Get all the projections from the NBA spreadsheet. Also, we're going to have NFL coverage this weekend as well. And then the 24/7 daily Discord access, including pre-lock and oftentimes post-lock voice chats. Main event tonight, the New Orleans Pelicans at the Sacramento Kings. A 220 total, 4.5 point spread in favor of the Sacramento Kings. We got Devontae Graham, friend of the channel, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, maybe Jonas Valanciunas taking on De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, Mo. How could you be so heartless? Rashawn Holmes. Last night, Rashawn Holmes went to the locker room. He did come back. Ingram has missed a couple of games here. Herb Jones left with a concussion yesterday, out today. And then Ingram, all eyes on Brandon Ingram in terms of what his questionable status becomes. If Ingram's unable to go, it's going to raise even more interest for me than I already have on a guy like Jonas Valanciunas, who's been absolutely tearing it up. I mean, he has been a monster. Ingram is listed as questionable with a right hip contusion still. So, Jonas Valanciunas is 8,800 on FanDuel, 8,500 on DraftKings. Raj, if you told me right now Brandon Ingram's out against the Sacramento Kings,
lock,
late night hammer, everything, I'm with you. I think J-Val could be a 10K player in this circumstance, and I'd still have to.
J-Val's been the most consistent, like 8K plus guy in the league. Like his floor literally seems like 40 points with no Ingram.
Yeah, no, he's really good, really good.
So, and then other thing to point out, I think Josh Hart becomes interesting if no Ingram plays too with Jones out too. I think Josh Hart just sees extended minutes, 4,900 there. He sees 35, 36 minutes. I think he can get the job done for you if Ingram gets ruled out.
I'm in agreement with here. We may not have that Ingram news before main slate lock, but I like Valanciunas regardless. I think he's an incredible play here. And then Devontae Graham becomes that much more viable in this spot. Sacramento Kings, lackluster defense, definitely give up a lot of points in the paint. 52.6 points in the paint so far this season. And that's got to be top 3, if not the most. I think it's top 4. It's the Lakers, ironically, the Wizards, and then Sacramento. So, yeah, Jonas Valanciunas should be able to thrive. And, you know me, late night hammers may not mathematically be needed, but it's a lot of fun to just know you're going up and up and up in the fourth quarter of this game when everything else is done. So, J-Val tier 1 for me. Chat, I'm going to knock out all of your questions. If you are watching and you haven't put exclamation point raffle in the chat, I'm going to give away a week pass in just a second. I'm going to try and get you guys out of here in a couple minutes. You guys go check out the Osmo strategy show deeper dive. If you aren't coming into the Discord, definitely check them out. On Friday I'll be on that NFL stack show with Greg, and Saturday morning I'll be over there talking some NBA with Emax, so be sure to look for me over there as well. Catching up on chat real quick before we get out of here. Josh says Pirtle being out should lead to more boards for Murray. Completely agree with that. Some of these are funny. I don't know if you caught that, Raj, but I spilt my coffee on my keyboard.
I heard some. Ooh, keyboard.
We kept it going, bro. I'm a pro.
That's brave. That's brave. I would have shut down the comp, cleaned it up.
Excuse to get a new keyboard anyway. Hey, Ronzo, channel member says, God, how much do you like 6.9K Al Horford today? He'll be in the player pool. I'll probably put him in the tier 3 area. If he falls, if my projection in the optimizer, if he falls in the lines, he falls. He'd be one of those guys that I wouldn't sweat too hard if he didn't. But we talked about Magic, worst defensive efficiency in all of basketball.
I think an interesting 1v1 is Al Horford versus Draymond. Kind of similar spot.
Right.
Guys doing it all.
So Horford feels like his upside's coming from blocks. Are you expecting a ton of blocks on Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba? I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer there. I'd probably lean towards Draymond just because it's been a tried, proven matchup in the Hornets, and he's going to do a little bit of everything. So I probably lean towards Draymond there. But it's both guys are viable. Elite Gaming says, do you think Beasley plays 35 minutes? I think if Patrick Beverley's out, there's a path for Beasley to surprise us in minutes, whether it be 30 minutes. I don't know about 35, but 30 minutes definitely not out of the question. McLaughlin and Beasley are both Slate Steelers. Yeah, like I said, I would really like Patrick Beverley to be out. Anything else in the chat before we get out of here? Boom, 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 boom. Fox is due. I'm with that. What's raffle? So the raffle is for a week pass at rundfs.com. So we're gonna do that. Raj, any piping hot take before we give away this winner?
Piping hot takes. We'll do the highest score of the slate will be Paul George.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Somebody DM me on Twitter says I can't Exclamation in chat. I can't do it on my phone. Donnie. Oh, no. That sucks. You can't exclamation point on your phone. My bad, Donnie. I'll do more giveaway. We'll do more giveaways. Remember, the goal is to get to 6K subs on this channel. So if you're out there lurking for the first time, if you don't have a YouTube account, you're like, all right, this dude, he's grinding. Make an account. It'll take you a second, and we'll do more giveaways in the coming days to weeks. Trying to get to 6K by January 1. Right now, we will not hit it. We would need 60, 70 subs per week. Right now, we're not on pace, but I'm hoping the more stuff like this we do, maybe you guys fall in like with me and you subscribe. It's completely free.
A lot of live viewers today, a lot of likes.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Josh says top play of the night on Fanduel, Embiid. I definitely love the viability of Joel Embiid a lot tonight. Yeah, I think Embiid, Cat, Jokic. I like prioritizing centers just because their floor is a lot higher. But Embiid would make so much sense if he drops 70 in a competitive game tonight. Just thinking about who all's out. All right, let's do this, chat. Let's hit. Let's close this and then let's draw a winner. And you guys hit that thumbs up for extra good luck, man. But yes, we have set a season high in viewers today and a season high in thumbs up. That means a lot. I sure appreciate it. Pick a winner. Boom. Josh Williams is your winner. So Josh, who just asked about Embiid, congratulations. Can you, with the name that you have right now, if you're on Twitter or if you have a Twitter account, can you type your Twitter into chat? And it will register that was you that said that. That way we can verify that it was you. Otherwise, chat, Raj, it's been real. Got to get out of here. Got to get into that rundfs.com VIP voice chat. So if you guys are looking to continue the conversation, go to rundfs.com, get yourself signed up. And then, hey, even if you do sign up and in a couple days you decide you still want to play these raffles, we'll give away more raffles, and if you win and you're already signed up, we'll stack it on top of the one you got, man. A lot of basketball tonight. More news probably to come, man. I hope you guys are able to react and win a ton of money tonight. I appreciate you guys, as always, making part of my day, part of your day. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless, and go win some money.